Hello and welcome, I'm Dante from Low Manor, and it's finally here after a year of waiting. We have our very first story trailer for Anthem, so let's dive in and see what it reveals. The trailer opens up with a scenic shot of the jungle landscape not too far from the location of Fort Tarsis. The giant machine to the left is something you'll be seeing a lot throughout both the trailer and the gameplay itself. This is a relic, part of the machines left behind centuries, if not millennia, or even further behind. They were used to create the world Anthem takes place on. The gods, as they have been called, were using them to create the world and its creatures. But they unexpectedly left, leaving these relics behind. Some active and some lost in the shifting environment. These are responsible for a lot of how Anthem plays, including the creation of Shaper Storms, a side effect of the more active relics. We also get a glimpse at some of the wildlife. These ones seem harmless enough, but John Warner has confirmed hostile versions will be out there. The location of this overview seems to be linked to that of the gameplay demo for the mission Scar and Villainy. Below is another structure, either part of the relic or the edge of a strider, that are used as mobile bases for the Javelin pilots. The second scene takes us inside one of the Scar strongholds, our first cinematic look at where they live. The Scars are a faction we'll encounter a lot. One of the more standard enemies that want to assault us. Their architecture is a cross of a post-apocalyptic world spliced with that of an insectoid hive. The homes built into the walls for protection, large spikes to warn outsiders and fend off the dangerous wildlife, which might also explain why they are built up so high. The creatures of Anthem are potentially much more dangerous than the Scars themselves. For some reason, a human has wandered into this stronghold, presumably because they are on the run from something else. Seems unlikely that they are a Javelin pilot, so perhaps they are an engineer that's found themselves stranded. We then switch to a close-up of the Scars themselves, continuing the very jagged feel with their armour. The small parts we can see of their bodies does somewhat resemble an insectoid heritage, but this could just be how they shape the armour. You can really tell that they are scavenging and recycling old armour and metal for construction rather than mining and smelting new materials. Switching away from the Scars, we see the doors of Tarsis open. This, along with a lot of the clips that make this trailer, feel very much like they are from other cinematics. Tarsis was the very first thing we saw from Anthem last year, so it's fitting that it almost feels like home. The sides of the street are filled with market vendors, just like in the other images we've seen, along with the blue banners of Tarsis. These either represent Tarsis specifically, or are banners of the freelancer faction that we belong to. This spire in the centre is also one of the defining features, and appears in some of the concept art, giving us our first view of the full location. This place is huge. Tarsis itself is the primary bastion for the freelancer faction, and location for the majority of the story. Within Tarsis we move to a bar, and a new character, Halrook. He is an old Javelin pilot, our character's engineer, a friend, and, I would theorise, a mentor also. Leading us, at least in the start, through the stages of becoming an infamous pilot. We see a quick flashback to him in a Shaper Storm, his suit badly damaged, but he still holds onto his old helmet, explaining why he is a mechanic and not putting on the suit himself any longer. We get a really nice shot of our Javelin being fitted and a full unit of Javelins soaring through the sky as they lower into another area. In the environment here we can see several paths in the world. On the left side there's a scav outpost, on the right another river leading away, and in the chasm where we start to descend, more water, landing on an unfamiliar structure, a relatively clean and modern bridge. Not Scar, not Freelancer, or Dominion. Something ancient and forgotten, showing us the variety of the ruins and civilizations that have been and gone. The next scene follows on, but clearly in a different location. This new area is inside, or at least under, a relic, with what appears to be a giant tree's roots run down the side and across the floor. Hard to determine what this adds to the lore, other than we'll be exploring many of these ruins, through general exploration, side missions, and the main story itself. In another cut designed to throw you off, we go back to another Scar base, building on the themes from before, an appearance of a hive-like structure, pods hanging down as homes, more of the jagged and spiked structures, especially on the walled up ground area, along with bodies much like the person we saw at the start, hanging and impaled as a warning to the freelancers. The most important structure though is front and centre. If we continue down the insectoid theme, this would be the Queen's Nest. surrounded with a cobbled together structure. At a glance this may look like a relic, but I think that's the point. To me this looks like a symbol of the culture of the Scars society. Do they worship the machines? See them as their creators, or possibly a way of salvation? Or just as a mighty weapon to conquer the world? Either way, they seem central to their beliefs. As we flash back to the ranger diving from a cliff, over another breathtaking vista, we get a couple of frames of another relic. This one is much more water themed. Multiple entrances to underground passages via the relic itself. Do they all link together, or are they all separate passages to other areas? We see the same style of entrances used in the gameplay trailer, so I would say we're going to be seeing a lot of them as water entrances throughout the game as a whole. Perhaps this is also linked to the elements they've hinted for the javelins. Water is related to the storm, so we might be going to multiple relic locations to retrieve our other javelins. We move into a gorgeous cinematic shot of a ranger leaving the water. More of this familiar relic style framing the shot before bursting out of the water, although clearly not linked together. Into another Scar base, a stronghold and gun tower filling the background, showing off some melee options with an awesome electrified baton, before facing down what I believe is an Ursix, the giant creature we saw in the original trailer. Onto the other javelins and a fight sequence that looks like it's directly pulled from the gameplay trailer. The shiny new interceptor, cryo grenades and awesome multi-mortar shots. The fight, however, seems lost. Our ranger thrown to the ground, ready to be crushed by something new. Fortunately saved by the interceptor before the reveal of our first ancient guardian, the Ash Golem. Titan-sized creature of molten rock, dripping with lava, which again takes me back to the biome's theme. The Colossus is themed around volcanic, and if the ancient guardian is just a class of creature, I bet we'll be seeing one for the different elements, as consequences of active relics terraforming the world around us. I would be remiss if I didn't mention on the voiceover and song choice. The opening line, "The gods vanished and left our world in chaos. Creating, altering, destroying, the anthem is all that remains." A pretty good tagline for the general story, at least for what we know so far, hinting that the relic of the Anthem of Creation will be significant to the story, and maybe the endgame. There's a storm coming, these walls can't protect us forever. Haluk's voiceover, a glimpse of what he's been through and what is yet to come for us. Fort Tarsis and the freelancers as a whole will be threatened by the Dominion, and I predict they'll be trying to use the Anthem of Creation to do it. Something is out there, it wants to destroy us all. Carrying on the threat, this time hinting more at the beasts out there, the ancient guardians, some of the more endgame related content. They will not control us, we will be victorious. Ending with the Muse as an anthem for hope, a rather fitting end. Thanks for watching, I'll be covering everything Anthem coming out of E3, so be sure to check those videos out in the coming days. If you like this content, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to support the channel, and use the little bell for notifications of future content as it goes live. Until next time, I've been Dantier, thanks for watching.